We all know that on the big platforms now, it's usually pay to play. The gold rush days of organic traffic are mostly gone. Now you have to spark the algorithm in your favor somehow, but how do you do that? I've developed some techniques that most artisans and makers never even think of that you can use to spark the algorithm to give you more organic traffic. And you can get the sales volume that you really need. And the best thing about these techniques is they work for all platforms. Whether you're selling on Etsy, your own website, it doesn't matter. You're going to be able to use these techniques on all of them. Think of online selling the same way you do with a brick and mortar shop. When you go downtown, the shops that are in the main flow of traffic on the nicest street pay a lot more money for that spot. So if you're on a side street, you're going to have to work a lot harder and be a lot more creative to draw your people into your shop. It's the same thing with online marketing. You're either going to pay to get higher up in your rank, or you have to drive your own traffic. So let's kick this off with my favorite strategy for getting traffic, and that is start local, go global. So whenever I'm selling locally, I'm going to give those people fantastic over-the-top service. I am going to over deliver. I'm going to get them first on my email list, but most importantly, I'm going to give them a card that lists my online selling platform and a coupon or some form of incentive for them to go online and buy from me online. I'm also going to point blank ask them, would you please make a comment? Let's just say we're using Instagram, okay? I'll say, would you please make a comment when you see a product and, become a part of my community? And if I've served them really well and they're enthusiastic about my product, they're going to be like, sure, okay. So they follow you, and then when they start making comments, that sparks the algorithm. And of course, one person isn't going to matter, but you're going to get many people to start to do this, and it's a snowball. Okay, a snowball starts out small. When you push it down the hill, it gathers steam. Now, this authentic activity from your customers is going to show up online, and the algorithms, the platforms are going to say, hey, look at all this activity, let's send them more people. That's how it works. You've got to get momentum. It's very hard to get momentum if you just throw your thing online and just hope and pray and post madly every day. It's just not working anymore. So you need to spark the algorithms with real relationships. I'm going to tell you a really quick story about a very close friend of mine who is an herbalist. And she started her six-figure herbalism business by going to craft shows. Now, craft shows, maybe you wouldn't think is the target market for being an herbalist and looking for your ideal client. However, she would go to these shows and she'd put out her beautiful organic product that she formulated herself, and they were medicinal herbs. She would stand out in front of her booth and with her card, and she would talk to people, ask how they're feeling, draw them into her booth. She was very, very good at just serving people and talking to them about their ailments, just listening. They would purchase product, but she would always say, here's my card, please go online when you need anything else. And so she developed her business in this way. And after a few years, she didn't even have to do the craft shows anymore because there was so much business coming in to her website and through what I call mini ambassadors or super fans that had used her product and found it to be really wonderful. So she built this whole business up just by talking to people, by serving them. And yes, she did give away her time in the beginning, but now she actually doesn't have to do these shows anymore because she's got such a good following. So here's my next idea. Groups and forums. Yes, I know you're not allowed to sell in groups and forums. Admins have locked things down, but I have some interesting ideas and different techniques for groups and forums, whether they're on Facebook, Reddit, private forum, whatever, that generally work. If you want to create interest and buzz around your product, get into groups and think outside the box about who might like your actual creation. I'm going to give you an example, first of all, to show you what I'm talking about. I make these needle felted items. This is Peter Rabbit. And I belong to a lot of needle felting groups. I have a whole needle felting business. In the needle felting group, people are generally posting pictures of their work and their finished products to talk to other artisans who are probably not interested in buying another person's work because they're doing work themselves. But I went on to a Beatrix Potter group. And a Beatrix Potter group, of course, is interested in Peter Rabbit. Now, when I posted, I did not post any links. Don't make your first post about something that you're hoping to sell. Start answering people's questions before you do that. Show the admin that you are interested in showing up authentically. I didn't even say that he was for sale, but I got so many comments. I don't know, I think it was like 150 comments of how much people liked him, and people would go to my page to check him out. I got many requests to make Peter Rabbit's. So you can use this technique in just about any way. You just have to think outside the box. In other words, who is my target market? Where is my tribe? And where are they hanging out? It might not be the exact groups that you think. Now, this thing is a llama. If I posted this llama in a real life llama group, like where they raise llamas, they might be super interested in something like this. So let's talk about the third idea, which is giveaways. And yes, this does require a little bit of money, but you have to put it in your head that if you are launching a product or a business, you're going to need to budget a little bit of money for advertising. And you can either pay that to the big platforms and make them a lot richer, or you can use it for your own business. You can gather emails with it. You can create goodwill, which is the biggest and best advertisement of all. There's some unique ways to do giveaways. And disclaimer, you need to check with whatever platform you're doing it on, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. What I like to do is I create a product on a live, but it's kind of fun and it gets people interacting and they like to see you create. After I'm done creating the product, I do a giveaway. And I even pay for postage too, as long as it's in the contiguous United States. I give away that product, and I might say, you know, all you have to do is comment below that you want it, or send me a DM, however you want to do it. I like to comment below on Instagram or YouTube because that sparks more for the algorithm. Or maybe it's a service that you do. I did this with my wedding business and it was very successful. I would say, okay, I'm going to give away wedding flowers. If you are getting married in the next 6 months, I'm going to give away a bridal bouquet, the groom's boutonniere, and 1 bridesmaid. And usually they would be thrilled to get that, but they would also order a lot more. So it wound up being a whole order for me. And it was a very successful way to start the word of mouth, to start the buzz. So you're either creating word of mouth for in real life, or you're creating online buzz with the algorithm, which is kind of the same thing. I'd like you to see that in all of these things that I'm suggesting that you do for your marketing, there is one central theme, and that is to create super fans, to create mini ambassadors, to create mini influencers, because those people are going to be the ones that in real life or online get your business going, gives it momentum. I've spent decades in the creative retail industry as first a floral designer, a boutique owner, an herbalist, and an author. I'm passionate about selling and marketing in both online and retail spaces. And with my successes and some epic failures, I have really learned what works and doesn't work. My goal is to help you market efficiently and make more money so that you can spend time on what you really love, which is creating new things.